Sunday. Hey, Shay. I think that's Shay. Happy Sunday. How are you today? And my off days be over so fast that I'm like, get me out of here. In my real dream, my real life dream, I want to be a housewife that works. I want to be married, taking care of the family, and working when I want to, so I can have me some points. That's my real life dream. A housewife that works and that don't do all the housework. Yeah, I don't even think that's wishful thinking. I'm a habit. Yes, honey. So I decided to just come live and see what comes to mind as I ride. The first thing came to mind is how sometimes we have to make adjustments. You know, sometimes unexpected adjustments. Oh God, that's a loud circle. We have to make unexpected adjustments. You ever want a truck like that too while I'm being a housewife that works? But yeah, man, I need to be stable. But I was talking about adjustments as that truck distracted me. That's crazy how a loud sound just throw you off your square like that. I guess kind of like when you be rested well in your home and then there's a sudden loud noise that comes and you jump up out your sleep. That was crazy. But anywho, adjustments. You know, sometimes we have to make adjustments. I made a huge adjustment for myself when I moved from South Carolina to Virginia. First year from South Carolina. You know, it's one thing when you choose to make an adjustment to your life and you know, go about with a plan, something that you had, an idea, something that God gave you, and then navigating that thing and trying to navigate it in a way that you're not missing things and that it's the way that God showed you, you know. And even in that adjustment, I had to realize that sometimes when He shows you something, the route to that destination isn't always the way you see it. It isn't always the way you see it. You know, I know my route shifted and changed a lot, but one thing was for sure that this was my destination. You know, and I think sometimes we miss the mark when we're going, and you know, we get zealous or whatever. But anyway, when I got in the car just now, we had went out to have breakfast or lunch or whatever. We went to eat today. Me and my family and the kids, you know. And he drove my car. So when I got back in the car to get ready to go for work, you know, as usual, I got in the car, fired her up, then I started looking around and I couldn't see nothing. I couldn't see out my rear view. I couldn't see out the right or the left side. And my steering wheel was in my lap. Steering wheel up, I'm with him, you know. But I couldn't see anything. So as I began to adjust the mirrors into the position that I needed them for me to operate this vehicle, that's when it hit me. You know, a lot of times we're gonna have to make adjustments, sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly. And how do we stay ready? You know what I'm saying? Like if it's an adjustment that comes absolutely out of nowhere that we don't have time to prepare for, which I would have been prepared for this, but I always forget when I get back in the car. But if it's an adjustment that we're not always able to really get prepared for, how do we stay ready? And I thought that was a good thought that I had, you know. I have thoughts that all the time, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna start bringing them thoughts to YouTube. how do you get ready? You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's staying who you are and for, as Double Speak's been talking about, not, but also people think they have discernment and they really don't. You know, there are people that have the gift of discernment, and then there are people that just are able to discern. I wouldn't say I have the gift, but I wouldn't say that I don't, because a lot of things that, you know, I think I do have that intuitive.
Stay on I-64 East.
But how do we stay ready for things that are way, and then we gotta suddenly adjust to adapt? How do we stay ready?
Continue for 8 miles.
I think that in doing so, we have to always know that shifts happen. I had a video a while ago called "Shift Happens." Shift happens. So it's like, if we, it's not always a shock when we got a bob and weave or swivel. I like to use the word pivot because I know a lot of people play basketball. It's not always a surprise when that shift happens. We're able to, you know, if we take a blow, we're able to shake it off and keep on going. But I think that comes by faith, you know, trusting God. That although this shift knocked me into a certain way, it made me feel like I had no control of things. It caused some things to feel like they were taken away, or whatever the case may be. We have to understand that in shifts, that sometimes that's what happens. You know, maybe that's the reason for the shift. Things need to be shaken up, taken away, removed, or whatever the case may be. Sort of like if it was an earthquake and things started to shake and fell off the shelves and began to break. Maybe that's what God be doing in our life when He shifts us. You know, also a shift may come because there's danger ahead. That's why it's always important to stay ready and not necessarily go against the shifts. I think a shift and bobbing and weaving things. I think a shift is something that we must go through. To bob and weave is to avoid something that comes as a result of that shift, when we're not necessarily prepared for that shift. I believe that shifts can even be painful, you know. But like I was telling my friend one day, and she was just saying that, you know, she was going through this and going through that, and, you know, it just seemed like all this stuff was being stripped away or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's called pruning. If you know anything about pruning, I believe pruning comes before a shift as well. When you prune a flower, that's when you're peeling back all the dead leaves and removing the leaves, and you're clipping the stem so that flower can continue to grow healthy and properly. There's a process that we go through as such. Pruning is when, you know, we're in a position when God is getting ready to, let's say, elevate us or introduce something else into the mix that He's been preparing us for. It begins to be this process of, you know, sometimes having to walk away from things, sometimes having to do things a little different than you were used to, losing friends, possibly adjusting to not doing things as you used to do. You know, some of us used to club a lot, but then when we start going into a different phase in life, those things, when they are stripped away from us because we're so familiar with it, it was so it's so fun, you know what I mean? Life is fun. Sin is great. But when I always tell people, when God is ready for you to stop something, He will stop you. So I believe that part of life, when He's removing you out of things that you were familiar with, that you in your life, you know, that stuff that feel good but ain't good. When He starts to remove those things, it's a painful process. It's a painful process. I also believe pruning comes before you birth something. You know, a lot of people like to say manifest, whichever the case may be. Whenever God is going to bring something to pass in your life, sometimes there's a birthing process. You know, a lot of people tend to pray and pray and pray. I'm like, God hasn't answered my prayers. But what has happened is they've given up in that season of pruning. He begins to strip away things and prepare the way for that blessing you've been asking for. The one thing you've been asking for, you give up at the point of breakthrough because it becomes painful. But when the whole time he was just preparing you for what's ahead, he was preparing you for what you asked for. Sometimes what we ask for requires a little more of us. So now he begins to stretch us, like dough. We're going to stretch you and knead you. And the more you stretch and knead and pound on that dough, we've seen people make pizza, right? So that's how you make a 8-inch. You get a certain amount of dough. You're going to make an 8-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch, or 14-inch. But all that's in that kneading and rolling and throwing up in the air and pounding and stretching and throwing it back down and slapping it. That's exactly what happens to us when he's preparing what's next. That's why it's important to be ready and understand what I'm believing is parts of adjusting. I'm not saying that this is some textbook, revelation. It's just the way that I'm interpreting life. I've noticed that every time I've gone through a change, it has sometimes been painful, because things don't always go your way. But I do think that a lot of times even when change is good, it can be painful because getting there, when we have our children, we carry them for 9 months. So think about it like that. You've been carrying this vision, you've been having this goal to reach this plan, this idea for the last 2 years, and it's almost time for that thing to be born. And you start to get those minor aches and pains throughout. Start to get those things that cause you to think there's a red flag or don't go, stop. That little enemy starts to creep up in your head to try to deter you from going through with what you're trying to get to. But needless to say, almost to that finish line, you begin to feel those pains. You feel the pains of everything you had to go through to get there. You feel the pains of having to shed those things you've been carrying the whole time that are no longer needed. So once you have gone through that process, you have, as you're going through that process, I can say once you've gone through that process, as you're going through that process, what does the doctor say to you? It says push. Most of us give up when we're supposed to be pushing. Most of us don't see the things that we've been praying for because we give up in the push. Just imagine if you were having your baby and the doctor, sees the head and he begins to tell you to push, but you don't. We know that can be dangerous for that baby. It can be dangerous for you. It may ultimately cause you to have to go the route of being cut. Being cut. Because he sure enough cut you. But I believe we want to get these things in our push, you know what I mean? That thing that he's building in you that says don't give up no matter what. The thing that he's building in you that says you got this because I put it inside of you. The thing that he's building for you that although you may not understand it, he knows that he created you before you were in your mother's womb. Before he placed you in the vessel that was going to push you out. He knows everything he's created you to do, created you to be, how you're going to be, the things you're going to do. It's just us trusting in him and knowing that if I'm going, then I need to trust God. Because if we trust God, then we know that he's going to protect us. He's going to protect us from the things that we may not see. But our job is to keep pushing. Keep pushing. There's no way to birth a thing, breakthrough, whatever you want to call it. Your blessings on the other side. It ain't gonna come to fruition, it ain't gonna manifest. All those good things, whatever happens on the other side of that push, it's not gonna happen if you give up when you're supposed to be pushing. I've given up when I'm supposed to be pushing. I got what, 2 salons that didn't make it. One of them didn't make it because it wasn't supposed to make it. I never forget the confusion that I felt when God said, leave this place. What is in my shop? What do you mean in this place? I don't understand it, but the more I push against it instead of push through it and did what I heard, the weight I lost. My hair began to shed. It's just like all these crazy, it's like my body began to, I guess, respond to whatever adversity he was trying to pull me out of. It wasn't for me to be there, but I chose to stay. And that stress, like the F me up, okay? That's just like the F me up. I was fragile looking, okay? I got pictures right now where I was just like, I'm talking about within the last 7 years. Tiny. I was little, but as soon as I left, I kid you not, all those things reversed. I began to pick up my weight. My hair began to return to a less fragile state. It's very important to
Exit 11A for Virginia 337 West Portsmouth Boulevard.
Because if we don't, you can wind up harming yourself, finding yourself in a space you weren't supposed to be. And you're beat up, beat down, or as hell. Sometimes that shift is the way to bring you up, If you want to go up, then you want to yield to the spirit. There's a lot of people that are probably afraid to do something now because it's unfamiliar. It's easy to do the familiar things, but it's hard to do the unfamiliar things because that's when faith kicks in. When faith kicks in, that means I got to go blindly. I got to trust this process. I got to go blindly, knowing that on the other side of this, God got me and it's going to be greater later. My baby dad used to say that all the time. You get greater later. You get greater later. It's okay. But
in a half mile,
something else
exit
to say
11A
that used to
for
be funny,
Virginia
and I found out
337
later
Boulevard.
from anger management. I can't think of that saying. But yeah, man, I guess that's my spiel for today. Encouragement. It will be that if there's something that you're
Take exit
aiming
11A,
for,
then merge onto
moving
Virginia
towards,
337 West.
when it begins to get a little shaky and a little painful, but you're right there, don't stop, keep pushing. When it's been clear for the whole time, then all of a sudden it's looking quite fuzzy. Because that'll happen too. Everything will be just crystal clear, and all of a sudden you can't see your way no more. You're like, I don't think this is gonna work. I'm just gonna chill. I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this. That's what the enemy wants you to do every single time. Give up. He ain't supposed to. Like when I moved here, like I said, my shift was, yes, it was definite. But how that process was gonna go was nothing like what I expected. I expected to come here and get this job at Amazon. That was always the plan. I did it, but it didn't come when I thought. My expectation was to get my job at Amazon, build me a clientele, save up a little bit of money real quick, and get me a place. All that started to take a different turn. You know what I mean? It took a little longer to get the money coming in. Then it was a space and time where I couldn't get a place because while I was trying to get to the ability to get a place, other things were going down, which means my credit took a hit. So I wasn't even able to, cutting edge, I wasn't even able to get the place. I can't see who else that is. I'm gonna see in a minute. I'm about to be at work, but I wasn't even able to get the place at the time. And some of y'all have heard me talk about my relationship. I didn't come here to get in a relationship. That was the least of my thoughts and whatever when I got here. It really was. I was on my grind. I was hustling. I was door dashing, Uber Eats, all types of stuff. So I could, didn't go that way. But when I finally did get my place and everything, well, not my place, when I got the job and everything, then there was
turn left onto Jolliffe Landing
getting
Parkway.
to the place of being able to find someone that would rent to me. So I had to pay to stay because I didn't have the same living arrangement that I had when I'm on. Hey, Jenny. I didn't have the same Marita. I didn't have the same living arrangement when I got here. So that was an adjustment because it was before I thought it would be. And once again, I believe God pushes us where He wants us to go when He wants us to go. So time is time. If it was His time for that to happen, it was His time for that to happen. But I begin to have to pay to stay. So once again, I still can't get on top of things. But in the meantime, between time, I met somebody, and I I don't know, nothing ever, once before what would have happened is this is a distraction to come throw me off my square, da da da. But I really believe that God sent someone to help me and had someone for me to help, if that makes any sense. So I didn't shy away from it, but if it wasn't for that person, I wouldn't be in Virginia right now. I would probably be somewhere between Ohio and South Carolina or Texas. I don't know. I wouldn't be here because that was the only time I ever thought about I probably just gonna have to go home, which is Ohio, my safe place. You know what I mean? Um, but one day I was sitting in my car because when I did get a place, there was like a 3-day span when I got my place that I had to wait until we got into it, and um, I'm like, I gotta get so much money up by this day. I'm not gonna go to the hotel these 3 days, so I work an overnight shift. So the main thing was
keep right.
Finding a way to chill or whatever
right.
until it was time to go back to work, pretty much. So I made the decision that I'm gonna chill in my car. If I can catch a nap, I can catch a nap. If I can't,
feet,
I gotta thug it out. 3 whole days I stayed in that car after work to get to my next, and it was the hardest moment here is operating kind of like off no sleep and just
in a quarter mile.
It was just
make a U-turn.
Unexpected thing, but for some reason it came to mind like these 3 days I can't go here, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I said that I'm gonna just DoorDash while I'm waiting. I had all types of ideas, but every time I turned on DoorDash, it was dead. It was never busy. I promise you, if I go to the hood where I live at, this like right now at the same time, I bet you anything, DoorDash is jumping. But for some reason, I was forced to trust this process. And I did. And then, boom, I was in the place. It was hard as hell trying to stay up like that. But I think that was part of my pruning, You're getting ready to go into another phase of this part of your journey. So you're going to have to be uncomfortable for these few days. You're going to have to deal with this for those few days. Yes, perfect front parking spot. VIP just for me. No, I was kidding. Yeah, but I had to go through those things, you know what I'm saying? Just imagine if I gave up. The only thought I had in my mind is if I go back to Ohio, I'm going to be a raging alcoholic, which there's nothing to do. Not in my hometown. I visit there for 4 days with my sister. We went to the bar every day. I'm like, how? How do you do this? That's not my life no more, So here I am because I pushed. Now, I can't really say nothing great about the place I moved. I'm grateful, but I'm ready to move again. Thank goodness. But yeah, man, like y'all never know that. Let me try to turn this GPS off. somewhere in life, someone's going through much worse than we are, and we give up in this little fight. You know, you'll often see people on the streets that seem to have so much faith. They have way more faith than us who have a place to live, who are getting meals every day, who have a stable job. They have way more faith than us. They're content. They'll be the ones that'll give you the strongest word. Those who a lot of people deem as trash and you know, just street dirt or something. I don't know. But I know I remember. Be careful how you treat people, because you never know when you're entertaining angels unaware. You know, he sends us messages in all shapes and forms, from all different races, all different genders, everything. He'll send you a message through a tree. Ask me how I know. I'm telling you, if you get in tune with the Holy Spirit, he'll speak to you all types of ways. God, because a lot of us is going to coming up in the world. You know, we got demonic Olympic opening coming up in the world. You know, we got demonic Olympic openings. We got demonic activity in the music our children are listening to, demonic TikTok dances. I had to tell my bonus daughter the other day, I don't want you to listen to that. I don't know if it's Meg the Stallion or whatever, and they doing that song, sound like they talking in Chinese. I don't want you doing that dance. I don't want you listening to that dance. It's a time where we got to pay attention to everything our children are partaking in, because he's busy. He is busy in that way. We say the devil busy because our car won't start. No, you need an oil change. And you need an oil change, bro. Sis, you need an oil change. I don't know why I took my glasses off like I can see. They chat. I can really see far away. I can't see close up. But yeah, man, that's all I really wanted to come on here and talk about. And encourage you guys that if it's something you're working on, don't give up. It's going to happen, you know. If you trust and believe in God, it's going to happen. It just might not happen the way you thought it was going to happen. He has a better plan for you than you have for yourself. That's the one thing we need to know. His plan, his ways, his thoughts, nothing about God is the way we think. Nothing about the thing, you know, how we operate is the way God operates. We can mimic or try to get close or try to be the best we can be, but it's still greater. His thoughts for us are greater. His plans for us are greater. And, you know, might I add that maybe that's a reason why some of us haven't reached a certain mark, is because we're not thinking greater, you know. Maybe he's not opening that door because you're aiming too low. Sometimes we got to go above and beyond. Go for the things that we think we're not qualified for, because he is the qualifier. Go for the things that we think, this couldn't be for me. You know, go for that job that says you need this education level, but you getting that thing on the inside that tells you to apply for that job anyway. Aim higher is all I can tell you. Push through and aim higher. Them the 2 words of the day. Push through. If you ain't came into a push, aim higher. All right? Okay, my people? It's been so fun on here chit-chatting with you guys. For those that showed up. I don't know if anybody else said anything after Marissa, but that's the last person I see. I know Shay showed up first. Let me see. Let me do some business on here. Yeah. I gotta at least be huggy. Hi. Y'all know on this vertical stuff, it be all types of people popping up. Okay. Shay says yeah. Okay. So I did speak to everyone. That's cool. Got me 2 new moderators. That's all good. But it is 6:53. Time for me to Finished getting ready. I had to put on my ugly shoes that I have to work in. Now I have to put my best on so I can go in here and put these people's crap through this machine. Listen, y'all, I was so tired today. And the kids was making noise and they kept coming in there to me. I don't know why, but they kept coming to me. I got in the closet and went to sleep. One dude called me like, where are you at? I'm in the closet. What? Yeah. Hey, I was determined to get that little hour and a half. At any rate, I hope I said something today that encouraged somebody to keep going, not give up. To let you know that you're not the only one going through painful situations. To let you know that, hey, we all fall down sometimes, but you got to get back up. You know, we got to keep pushing because there is an ultimate end for your life. And that's your purpose, is to reach it. Follow God, trust God, and you'll figure out along the way what your purpose is if you don't know. I feel like my purpose is to follow God and trust Him. And everything that He wants to do in me, through me, or in my life and through me, it will happen by that way. Yeah, so anywho, I love all you good people. This is my get ready for work drink, and I'm about to go in here and knock out these 9.5 hours. I don't know what day it's gonna bring. Pray that I push through to 5:30. How about that? Because if I can make it to 40 hours this week, because we don't have no mandatory hour, which means I don't have to stay to 6:30. If I can make it to 5:30 all my 4 days, that means I could pick up some extra time this week and get time and a half, baby. I got to keep my hustle going. But anywho, I will chat with you guys later. I will probably try to come back tomorrow or Tuesday. I don't know. It will most likely be random as this was today. I might even start just coming live, you know, leave a little bit early for work and come on here while I'm going to work. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. But anyway, I love you all. I pray God gives you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that He gives you new ideas today that you didn't think of yesterday, that He gives you wisdom on how to operate in the thing that you're moving in now, that He reminds you of something that maybe you put down that He has need of. I pray that He covers each and every one of your children. Anyone who comes across this video, I pray that your children are covered every day and they're coming and going as they're going back to school, while they're still enjoying their summer, whichever the case may be. I just pray God puts angels around them and protects them from all the wickedness in this world. And I pray for even our country at this moment, because we need it, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, God bless you all. I will see you guys later. Bye-bye now.